Hello all, if you were watching this video, I assume that you have found the syllabus okay. I'm going to be using this video to explain to you the first part of the syllabus. There will be several different videos to watch in relation to discussing the syllabus, but these will be very important in regarding what we're doing in this course in the future. Okay, first thing first, again, my name is Miss Boudouris. This is my email at the top to contact me. So if you have any questions about logging on to Blackboard or finding things on Blackboard, if something's not uploaded on your computer, please let me know right off the bat, and I can help you with that. Or if you have any questions throughout the course, that's my email. That's how you're going to be contacting me. This is an online-only course, so we're not going to have office hours because we're not meeting face-to-face. I'm also a part-time adjunct, and I don't really have an office. But if you are needing me to meet with you one-on-one, face-to-face at some point throughout the semester, you're not understanding something, you really need to have some face-to-face time with me, make sure that you email me as soon as possible. I am on the Arnold campus, the Jeffco Arnold campus, Tuesdays and Thursdays. My classes get out at 10:45 in the morning, so if you do need to talk to me of some reason why, I could probably wait a little bit of time. I can see you Tuesday, Thursdays in Arnold. Otherwise, I live a pretty decent ways away. I could probably video chat with you or Skype with you or email proficiency with you in some way. This is going to be a textbook we're going to use. It's going to be the Bedford Guide to College Writing. When you signed up for this course, you would have seen an area to purchase this textbook. We're all going to be using it. I think it's a good idea to get it as soon as possible, but we're not going to be exactly using it until around week 3 of this course. Course descriptions and goals. This is deemed by Jefferson College. Oh, sorry, I went a little bit too far there. But English 101 is designed to provide writing instruction and practice throughout this course. We're going to be writing well-developed, coherent, unified essays. If you notice down here under coursework, it says major essays. Those are going to be the majority of your grade, and everything we're doing is kind of working towards those major essays. You're going to be writing 3 of them, but they're going to be a major portion of your grade. Use the writing process to plan, compose, revise, edit, and proofread. We're going to be doing that by peer review. It's going to be a huge part of this class. We're going to do at least 1 peer review for every major essay that we do. So we're going to do a lot of peer review, usually using Google Docs. It's going to be the best way for us to do that. Practice a variety of writing patterns to make a significant point. So we're going to talk about the different ways you could incorporate a writing process, kind of to write a thesis. There's lots of different ways to get there, so we're going to talk about that. Analyze and evaluate, critically evaluate model essays and student essays. We will have at least 1 example essay that I have had from previous students given to you. We're going to talk about it. We will discuss model essays from professional writers as well. And then a very important one, which is research topics. MLA format. From the very beginning of the semester, we're going to be discussing MLA format. So if you have not had any previous experience with MLA format, either high school or either another college class, we are going to discuss it quite at length from the very beginning of the semester. This first week, you're going to be expected to kind of start learning it if you have not learned it in the past. So MLA format, throughout the entire semester, we're going to be discussing that. So coursework, I already kind of discussed major essays. The next one here under this, what's going to incorporate this course, these are the assignments that you're going to be completing. So major essays. The next one is commonplace book entries, and you may never have heard about that before. It is a little bit of a unique assignment, but you're going to be writing 10 commonplace book entries, and essentially you're going to be reading an assignment. It could be out of a textbook, it could be something I provided for you online. And you are going to be doing 3 things. The first thing you should do is cite that source, so whatever text in MLA format. So again, MLA format is going to come in really handy that first, at least the first week of the class. Provide a list of at least 3 quotations from a reading that you find important or interesting. So those 3 quotations could be something that reminds you of a former class period, another class that you took in high school, about writing in some way. They could just spark an experience in your life that you find interesting. And after the third thing you're going to be doing is have at least one paragraph per quotation, and that paragraph is going to explain why you felt like you interacted in that quote, why it's interesting in some way. And I do have a separate assignment sheet. I'm going to film a separate video for complex book entries. So this is just kind of talking to you a little bit about what that is, but that separate video will talk more in length about what a complex book entry is and how you're going to be using them, and I'll maybe provide an example of one so you know what it looks like. But one important thing to note here is that later throughout these syllabus videos, I will discuss late work. Complex book entries will not be accepted late. Okay, so I think that's extremely important to know. Whatever day they're due, they will be due at 11:59 p.m. And you will be asked to comment on your peers' complex book entries because we are not in a physical classroom. These are meant to help, help with discussion, and those comments are going to be a way to jumpstart some discussion. So they won't be accepted late. They'll be due at 11:59 p.m. And you can look at the schedule at the end of the syllabus on your own, and I will discuss this when I get to that point in these videos. But they're going to tie into these class readings, and they're going to be extremely important to a lot of the discussions to tie into the formal essays that we're going to be doing. But when I'll give much more information on what I'm expecting when you comment on your peers' essays in that extra complex book entry video. So watch that as well. Participation, I'm going to get to that in a second. Annotated bibliography, you will be writing annotated bibliography for your essay number 3, which will relate to a lot of the research and citation practice we will be doing throughout the course of the semester. And at the end of the semester, you'll be doing a portfolio, which will give you a chance to revise any formal essays that you have been doing over the course of the semester and reflect on your writing that you've been doing. But that will be due at the very end of the semester. That portfolio will also kind of count as a final exam. A few other things here. Late work. Again, this is only discussing any essays, annotated bibliographies, any assignments that are separate from complex book entries. This is an online-only class, and meaning you're going to have to keep track of your own work. I do accept late essays, but they come at a cost. Unless there is some deathly emergency, a family member was in a car accident, or you were in a car accident, you have to email me as soon as you can, the very first possible moment of that. What that is, if you email me on your phone and say my computer crashed, that's not going to cut it. Please work in advance and think early. But if something like personal really happens, someone in your family has passed away, please let me know. Those things I can give extensions to without penalty, but please don't overdo it. Once your third grandma dies, I, have a pretty good idea that you're faking it. But in terms of this, right here, if you turn something in late, but within 24 hours of the deadline, I will deduct 10% from that grade that you originally have earned. So, for example, say you got 100% on an essay. If you turn it in a day late, that's a 90. So, every extra 24 hours, it's another 10% off. So I have here, if an essay is due on Monday, and you submit it on a Tuesday, that will be a 10% deduction. However, if you submit it on a Thursday, that's a 30% deduction of what you originally would have earned in that grade. Another thing that's important, if it's more than 7 days late, the grade will be an automatic 0. I will still comment on it and send it back to you for feedback, but I will not be grading it. In addition, all major assignments must be turned in order to pass the class. If that first major essay is worth 10% of the class points, if you somehow get a C without submitting that, you will not pass. I think that's extremely important to know. I don't think it's fair for other classmates to turn everything in and then you not and still somehow pass the course. Alright, so you have to be able to turn all those formal essays, all those assignments in order to pass the class. So even if you turn it in 10 days late, you still have to submit it. Like, oh shoot, I'm not going to get a grade for this. You still have to submit it. You still have to prove you did the work. Okay, and this is going to be where the online only can be a little bit tricky for some of you. I am not going to be there emailing you in that or telling you in that face-to-face class, this is due this day, you know, coming up in a week, we have this. And I remind my face-to-face students about those type of deadlines pretty consistently. But I'm not going to send you emails. I'm not going to be your secretary. You're going to have to do that yourself. So I will provide you all the due dates. I will be as on time with everything, getting to you as thorough as everything else I possibly can. But it's a two-way relationship. So you have to be able to say, all right, this is coming up in a week. I should probably start on it soon. Otherwise, those consequences are going to be on you, not on me. So it could be very easy to get behind in this course. It's a 14-week course. From week 1, we're going to be starting kind of working towards a lot of the busy work that we're going to be doing. I say busy work, I don't mean that it's not for a purpose. I mean that every single week we're going to be very busy. I have no other way around that. In the face-to-face course, we have 16 weeks, and I can do a lot more activities with students based on what they need. Here we don't have that luxury. So you really are going to have to be able to look at that schedule, put in a calendar, maybe Google Calendar if you have your phone on you a lot. Make sure whatever it's going to work for you. Develop good time management skills, because that's going to help you just as much as learning the material is going to as well. One last thing I'll discuss for this video, and then I'll move on to another video, will be peer review. Peer review, I talked about that a little bit earlier. Every essay we do will have at least one peer review. We're going to be using Google Docs, and I will develop another peer review video, and you can also look at what's called the peer review assignment sheet for more information on that. What I'm expecting you to do is upload. I'm going to put you in groups on Google Docs, so you'll be in a group of maybe like 3 or 4 other people, groups of 3 or 4 people, and you'll upload yours at a specific time. So if I say on a Monday, you have to upload your essay. If it's late, or if you didn't upload it at all, that's not going to be the full points for the peer review. The other thing you're going to have to do is download your peers' essays. It will have a worksheet specifically for you to fill out for each peer of your peers' essays. You fill that out and you comment on their essays as thoroughly as you can. So the 2 things I'm looking for in the peer review: uploading your own essay on time. The on-time part is very important. And then downloading your peers' essays, commenting on them as thoroughly as possible. Don't just say, this is great, and moving on. And actually giving them feedback, and then uploading them again. How this is going to be graded, it's 10% of the full essay. So if you have an essay that's worth 100 points, the peer review will be worth 10% of that, which is 10 points. So if you got a final draft, your final draft was 100%, you would have gotten 90 out of 90 of those points for the formal essay, and then you would have got 100. That would have equaled out to 100 out of 100, so 90 plus 10. It's 10% of whatever. If it's 150 points, that would be 15. If it's 200 points, that would be 20 points. So whatever 10% of what the actual essay grade is worth, and they're all a little bit different. They keep moving up in points as the semester goes on, and you keep learning new things throughout the course. So that's going to be an example. Typically when I have peer review in the classroom, students bring their essays in hard copy. We just don't have that luxury. For peer review to be extremely functional and helpful for everybody has to participate and give their 100%. And I'll talk about that more in the peer review video, so people look out for that as well. But these are going to be extremely helpful for your essays, and each peer review we'll do is we'll take a whole week out of the class to do peer review. And I think I have this listed someplace else down here. I will always accept for you to email me your essays, your formal essays on your own for me to comment on. But if you do that, I ask you to do more than a week before the final draft of the essay is due. You guys aren't my only class. I have several students this semester and every semester. So I need time to comment on those essays, and as well as what you need time to take those comments into consideration and revise and edit your essays based on my comments. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video for now. This was video number 1, part A for the syllabus. The next video you should watch should be video number 1, part 2, which is continue this conversation about the syllabus.